Red Dead Redemption 2 set the bar for open world games. It's beautiful, alive, unforgettable. But then, recently, I played Crimson Desert, and I realized the future of open worlds might already be here. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this might be one of the greatest gaming worlds I've ever seen. And I'm only about 30 hours into Crimson Desert. Everywhere I go, I keep seeing flickers of Red Dead Redemption 2. The markers on the minimap, pop-up NPCs, random encounters, tracking and hunting, bounties. And the weight of the world moving around you has so many similarities. Crimson Desert and Red Dead Redemption 2 are such different games, but somehow the worlds feel freakishly similar. The first thing that hits you in Crimson Desert is it's a spectacle. The world feels cinematic from the moment you set foot in it. Towering mountains in the background, leaves blowing in the wind, plains of green grass, wildflowers, and rivers. Whether it's a sudden storm rolling across a valley or a horde of enemies charging at you in a field. The world is constantly in motion, making you feel like you're in something grand, something bigger than just yourself. I genuinely feel like a badass knight going through an epic world. A couple days ago, I finished an awesome boss fight in an open field. Then afterward, I decided to keep going forward and found myself surrounded in a fairy tale-like forest. Blowing leaves, tree branches swaying, ponds and streams, and the occasional NPC passing by. I continued on the path and arrived at a small, sunshine-filled village at the top of a mountain. And this might sound stupid or even cringeworthy, but genuinely, the beauty of it almost made me tear up.
Hi.
I didn't know these moments existed in video games. I thought, honestly, they could only exist in TV shows or movies. You can be the hero knight finishing a boss fight and then arriving in a small, peaceful village, resting and helping the locals. It feels like it's straight out of some fantasy cinematic masterpiece. Most of us remember the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 pretty easily. A very different approach than Crimson Desert. Quieter beauty and grounded in reality, living as a 19th century cowboy. Sunlight filtering through trees, the deep snow in Chapter 1, swing of the grass plains, and the detail of wildlife everywhere. It felt painstakingly real. There are no dragons or magical powers. It was supposed to feel like real life. Crimson Desert wants your jaw to drop. Well, Red Dead 2 is trying to convince you that you're living inside the real world, and not everything is a jaw-dropping moment. I can't help but think Crimson Desert's world feels like Red Dead Redemption 2 in a fantasy universe. Anything can happen. I'm sure I don't need to remind everyone, but in Red Dead Redemption 2, it felt like anything possible in real life could happen in that world. A street robbery, a gunfight breaks out, NPCs doing their daily routines, a wild animal attacks you. The world never stopped for a second. I had never felt another world like Red Dead Redemption 2 until now. Crimson Desert's world is the definition of unpredictable. A group of bandits could attack you, and then a giant bear attacks you 60 seconds later. And then halfway through that fight, you can just decide to ride the bear around like a horse. Mansions are filled with trapdoors and puzzles. Lord of the Rings style villages are everywhere and scattered across this massive world. Every system is interacting with the others, creating moments that feel organic and entirely player-driven. It never feels forced. It's a world where chaos is part of the charm. A place where the unexpected is a feature and not a flaw. I thought Red Dead Redemption 2 was the king of unpredictability. But now we have Crimson Desert almost 10 years later. Crimson Desert's realism comes from the gameplay itself. Walking around, hitting the shift key to sprint and speed up. I knew that mechanic felt familiar. But you're not an outlaw cowboy in the 19th century. You're a knight in whatever universe you're in whatever time period. Stumbling around towns, climbing up buildings like an assassin, unsheathing a great sword and feeling the weight of it as you attack something, or jumping off a building and turning into a mutant bird flying around. It is an unbelievable combination of realism and fantasy. The physics, enemy reactions, the environmental interactions, everything is designed to make your actions feel meaningful. Red Dead 2, in contrast, achieves realism through almost simulation and built in with the narrative of the game. These games aren't very comparable in terms of story and character development, not even close. In Red Dead, you see the world through Arthur Morgan, who has his limitations and flaws and moments of heroics, while in Crimson Desert, you are truly whoever you want to be. Not in a sense of RPG choices, but because there isn't much of a main character story foundation, and the world seems unlimited. In Crimson Desert, you're not confined to reality. Yes, cutting up trees, going fishing, and walking feels real, but you don't have to worry about ammo or getting enough sleep, and you can perform a 1v200 gutting every bandit within a mile. Whether it's a large-scale siege, a boss fight, or a random ambush, the combat shapes the moment and the world itself. It's chaotic, responsive, and honestly thrilling. Red Dead takes a different philosophy. Combat exists to support the world and the story, not to define it. While fights can be intense, the combat feels realistic, and the guns feel weighty, they're always grounded within the context of the world, its tone, and the overall narrative. The world's identity comes from its consistency, its NPCs, towns, wildlife, and environmental storytelling. The best thing in Red Dead Redemption 2 is its realism. And the worst thing is also its realism because it's constrained. But that all fits in as you're a 19th century outlaw as Arthur Morgan. Crimson Desert isn't trying to beat Red Dead Redemption 2 at its own game. It's trying to create the greatest fantasy sandbox world that's ever existed. Undoubtedly, Pearl Abyss took inspiration from Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's a good thing. I think they honored it pretty well. Red Dead 2 was universally loved, and now we can see that and more in a completely different universe. I'm only 30 hours into Crimson Desert, but damn, I am so happy that both these games exist. And I also want to point out that this is not supposed to be a knock against either of these games, because the worlds have awesome similar feelings in many ways, but they are also so extremely different.